Our second guest today on Channel 18, Community Journal Station, is Barabara-Anne Foley, whom I'm sure almost all of you know. Barabara-Anne is the director of the Council on Aging, and she also runs an event in honor of her father, and that's what she wants to talk about today.
Well, thanks, Paul. I can't even believe it. Off air, Paul and I were talking about how long ago was this that we started, and this is, believe it or not, the 11th year. Mm-hmm. My father passed away in 2006. He lost his 10-year battle to Alzheimer's disease, and sadly he died on Mother's Day. So forever changing my family's way that we celebrate Mother's Day. And my 16-year-old son at the time said, we used to go down to a walk for Alzheimer's at the canal. And he said, Mom, why do we have to go all the way down there? Why can't we do something in Harwich, in our own town, and do it in honor of Pop-Pop? And I said, like what? And he said, well, can't we do our own walk? And I looked at him and I thought, you got to be kidding. Do you have any idea how much work goes into trying to do a walk by yourself? And I knew nothing about how to run one. Well, as I said that, he said, so you're giving up on Pop-Pop before you even try. He never gave up on you, you know, and he never gave up on his disease. You're just giving up? Well, what do you say to that except, okay, let's give it a try. So we did, and the first year I think we raised $1,500 or some very small amount. Over the course of 11 years, with former folks that we were paired up with and through today, we have helped people with over $100,000 over the course of those years. And the money goes to benefit Alzheimer's Family Support Center of Cape Cod. And this is not a commercial for them, but just to tell you why we have paired with them is because they do everything Alzheimer's, and they don't charge anything for their services. So you might say, well, how do you stay in business if you do that? And the answer is fundraisers like this, and endowments and people who leave them money who have passed on and that kind of thing. But they do counseling one-on-one, they have respite grants, they meet with families, they actually even will go into a person's home to see if it's safe so that someone doesn't wander away or some of the other things that can cause trip hazards. So it's a wonderful organization that we are partners with, and the funds all go to this organization. So when you may be a caregiver for a person and you say, oh, I just got invited to Cousin Jimmy's wedding and there's no way I can take Dad with us. There just isn't any way, and there's nobody else to watch and be with Dad. We work with them to provide respite funds so that they can have someone come to stay with Dad and keep him safe, keep him happy, and you be able to go off and go to the wedding or whatever the function might be. So the date is Saturday, May 7th. It's always Mother's Day Saturday because we honor my dad's legacy. And the location is always at Brooks Park. We start there. You really can't miss us. We have a huge white sheriff's tent. And in addition to that is a very large green archway. So we meet at the park, and we've made it kind of like a family fun day. We've got, you know, food, hot dogs, hamburgers, chips, and we also have massage therapist person in the park. We have two health screening people. Dr. Wright, Greg Wright of Wright Chiropractic will be in the park, and he does you know, spine screenings and overall health screenings. Epic of Harwich will be there doing blood pressure screenings. We've got Bridges and Beacon Hospice. So the park itself, when you come in, you'll see some tables set up, and people can visit after they've done their registration. We're waiting for other people to get registered. We didn't want them bored walking, you know, around aimlessly. So we have the wonderful swing band, Sound Dunes, will be in the gazebo. They'll be playing live music. And all of those folks I mentioned will be in the park. And after we get started on our way, before we get started, we will have District Attorney Michael O'Keefe as our honorary guest this year. He will be there, and the folks from Alzheimer's Family Support as well. we say a little thing about thanking people, and then we do a group picture under the archway, and then our wonderful Harwich Police Department get us started. They're on bikes, and we go up to the Oak Street bike path. So the walk is great because although it's a 6K, which is a little over 3 miles, you can walk 1,000 feet and turn around and come back, and you've done something. You don't have to actually walk at all because we have so many things to sort of entertain you at the park that if you want to just come and be with other people, or you want to come and hang out and listen to the music, and maybe have a hot dog later on, everyone is welcome. And what I love is, as my son being the founder of this wonderful walk, we see every year, Paul, people that are one side of the park to the other, and they'll say, "Janice!" and they go running towards each other because they haven't seen each other since last year's walk. Yeah. And they may have met at the walk, or they may have known each other from some other, no pun intended, walk of life, but they didn't know that they also had somebody in their family with Alzheimer's. And that's the sad but positive reality of all of this is every time I go into the classrooms of the high school across the street, or really any audience, and I say, okay, raise your hand if you have someone in your own family personally with Alzheimer's disease. And the last time I did that in the classroom of maybe 32 kids, all but 3 raised their hand. So that tells you how prevalent this disease is. There's over 10,000 people on Cape Cod with Alzheimer's or some form of dementia. And we know, sadly, there is no cure yet. There is a lot of research, and exciting research actually, that's going on. And we're hoping that, by the time our kids get to be in their elder state, that this disease won't exist anymore, or if it does, that there'll be treatment for it. So right now, it's really critical that we provide funding for adult day centers, for transportation to get there, to give people who are caring for them, those angels that never get any credit and seldom ever get a break, that we're able to give them a break, or give them the stuff for the supplies, or a bus to get their loved one to daycare or whatever it is, and not have to pay for it. Because unfortunately, what happens is you've still got a mortgage, you've still got food to pay for, you've still got potentially credit card bills, you've still got lighting and heating. Those all still have to get paid. And now you've added adult brief diapers perhaps, or a myriad of medication, or a bunch of other things that are cha-ching, cha-ching, and add up. So what happens? Well, then people start cutting back. They cut the pills in half, or they only give their loved one 2 out of the 4 a day. Or the worst case we had was a person who had the undergarment briefs, the disposable diapers, and he didn't know any better, and he turned them inside out and used them a second time, and then wondered why the wife was continuously having UTI, urinary tract infections. So all of those kind of negatives said, the positive with this walk is we're here to help. So with that particular family, I first bought a case with the funding from the walk, and then I reached out to our community partner who helped support the walk, Bill Bogdanovich from Broadreach Rehab at Liberty Commons, and he said, "Oh my gosh, don't ever do that again. If you need, adult briefs, I will get them to you."
Oh, good.
So people in the community also are very, very willing to help us as long as they know what our need is. And one of the ways we make that need known, or the multiple needs known, also is by doing these walks, because people are at the park. They might have come with a friend and they say, "Oh my God, I didn't know there were 10,000 people on the Cape with Alzheimer's," or "I had no idea this organization existed," or fill in the blank. So it's a really, really important event. As I said, it's Saturday, May 7th. We begin our registration at 11 o'clock at the park in Brooks Park Center. And usually by 12 o'clock or thereabouts, depending on how many people we need to register, we kick off and start walking. They usually get back about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour later. So usually in the 1 o'clock time frame, where a second set of music will be playing by Sound Dunes. We will pull the raffle tickets for the raffle table, which, by the way, has a lot of very fun prizes. And everybody has a hot dog, hamburger, visits the other people that are in the park, and then people sort of meander on out and go home. I will say we have a new rain location this year. It's always been this community center, but we're booked, which is great. It's a good problem to have. So if, God forbid, never has rained before, hard enough that we've had to change, but if that should happen, we will be at the former Harwich Middle School, and that's on Sisson Road. Very easy to find because it's right across from the Harwich Police and Fire Station. So we're hoping that we will have a Brooks Park filled with a sea of people. And as I said, you can come and sit and listen to music, or you can come and walk and do all of the things that are available to you. We will have water. We have Cliff Bars, which are kind of like an energy bar for the walkers. Some folks will bring a dog with them, and they will walk with the dog up in front usually. So if anyone should have any questions, they can certainly give me a call at the Council on Aging, and our number is 508-430-7550. I will say that if my dad were sitting next to me as Paul is, not only I think would he be really proud of my son for having started the walk, but he would be really excited to see the numbers of people and how it's grown. This year we've got a number of teams. So I've had people say to me, well, I don't have a ton of friends. Like, what's a team? A team is 2 or more people. So if you're part of a couple, you know, you and your spouse can come together, or a sibling, or a child, or a grandchild. It is Mother's Day weekend, so this year at the raffle table, we have another exciting new piece, which is if you put tickets in 4 little containers, and let's say one is for Harwich Junior Theater for 2 tickets, by the way, which is one of the prizes. We have a second prize now. For every container that we have a teacup of flowers, and it's a china teacup. So we will pick a second winner out of that same container, and that's who will win the teacup. And I will tell you, to make everything perfectly fair, we have our representative of the Harwich Police Department who pulls those tickets so that nobody thinks that there's any kind of shenanigans going on behind the scenes. But it really is a town and a community affair from the Harwich Police and Fire, who really are our angels and have been every single year with us. At the beginning of the walk, and the fire department is on the crossover of the walk. We've never, knock on wood, had to use them for any real emergency. Once in a while you get a person who's really, really just tired and maybe can't walk it back, and they've given them a ride back, but no medical emergencies, I guess I would say. And the Harwich police are great, sometimes on ATVs, sometimes on bicycles, sometimes a combo of both. So I want to thank both the chiefs on down for that, because they've been great supporters. So if anyone has any questions, give us a call. Otherwise, we hope that we will see everyone on Saturday, May 7th at the park.
Well, you certainly got this thing all surrounded
We
by
do.
everything that's possible. So I wish you well.
Thank
And I
you.
hope you have a big success with no rain.
I hope so too. With rain, it just makes everything have to shift, and that's never an easy thing because there's lots of tables and other things to have to move. And we have a wonderful corps of volunteers, and hopefully we won't have to do that. We'll just be able to use them in the park.
There you go. So I hope it is in the park, and you have a great day.
Thank you. Thanks for tuning in.